Okay, we're live. Evening, everyone, or good morning for some of us.
Hmm.
So I'm here today with Patrick and Christian. We're gonna hopefully have some more people to have a bit of a Scrum meeting today regarding Take Me Away. Um, how are things on your side, Christian? What have you been working on lately?
Well, nothing to be honest. I'm waiting to get the task, new task, and
Christian,
oh, can you hear me?
I can hear you, Christian.
are you still with us?
Raul, can you hear me?
Can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can.
Yes.
Are
Okay, it seems like there's something wrong with my sound for some reason.
okay.
Okay, cool. Sorry.
You're back?
I was Yeah, I'm back. My sound was muted for some reason. Have you been working lately on Take Me Away, Christian?
Not really. I'm waiting to get the task, and I'll start with that.
Okay. So you want to be assigned a task. Okay. We'll get to that in a moment. And Patrick, you said you were working on some paperclip spikes to
Yes.
going. Yeah.
Yep. Hmm.
Okay, so to start with that, I see we have this add image to menu item. Clearly, Sampriti and yourself have started working on it, but it's not
Hmm.
marked as start yet. So maybe one of you, I don't know if you were able to talk to Sampriti um, lately.
If your question was I able to connect up with him? No, not
Yes.
really. Um, the time zones are a real bit of a problem,
Okay, I see.
So
All right. So, but then one of you guys must then mark that story as started. Maybe if you're not, you
so
want to do that, or maybe Sam Pretty, because I hear he's right.
yeah, I think some pretty auto market has started because he's the one he's actually got it implemented except for testing is what he has
Okay.
said. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah,
Cool.
maybe you
So
should assign it to him then.
it's already assigned to him.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, he just didn't start the story. But anyway, I'll speak with him and get that sorted. I know Thomas is busy working on the ordered endpoint for the API. The order workflow, we already voted on the store. I think what we need is centralized and managed them. So, yeah, I don't know if there's something preventing us from implementing this feature now, but I don't think so. I really don't think so. Yeah. So this is a story that is outstanding. Maybe someone can also have a look at it and see if they
Uh,
can tackle it.
but about the
Um,
order workflow,
yes, the order workflow.
uh, don't we need the backend to be done about for the order to work on this?
Um, okay, then if you want to take on the story, maybe you can coordinate with Thomas to see how far he is with the order endpoint and see if you can have something already there to kind of get started on this. Is
Yeah,
that
sure.
okay? Okay, so this menu category stories that was assigned to Patrick, I think we said we were dropping this for now, right?
Let me look at that real quick. It's tough to see your screen there.
Uh, Maybe I
Oh
should.
yeah.
We said we were gonna drop this for now, right? Keep things simple. I think so.
I would say that we still have order categories, excuse me, menu categories, but they're repurposed. So they're not. Yeah, they are implemented. They're just done in a different way than we originally envisioned.
Mm-hmm.
So I could say we could probably call this either drop it or call it complete, or say it's been assumed into another task,
Okay.
another story.
Okay. Then maybe I'll move this over to the icebox for now. Then we'll look at that
Yeah,
later on.
that
Okay.
might make sense. That makes sense.
All right. So I'm just gonna move that up there. Then okay. So that leaves us with okay. These are all front end stuff. I think Aaron started on the order creation here. Yes, he's already done some work on this story. I'll
Uh,
probably that's the one I was writing test for yesterday, if you remember,
yeah.
Christian.
Also,
So
the order workflow, isn't it related to the creation of the order? Because
yeah, I think it's blocked right now because the other workflow on the back end is not done yet, so he can't move on. So we need to get this story that Thomas is working on
yeah.
done first, and Aaron can continue work on the front end stuff.
But isn't there any task that is not related to this, and so I can start fresh and work my way?
Okay,
Just
so
as a first test, so I can get the hang of the project.
okay, well then that moves us to the next. We have a few stories in the ice box that we need to vote on. I kind of put them. I tried to prioritize them earlier on. So the first one, which is kind of an easy one, is have to disclose ingredients. Um,
Okay, this is also backend and front end, right? Because in the backend we don't have anything about the ingredients.
so this is gonna be back end. Um, let me just mark this as back end.
Oh, I see.
And then you can. So what we're trying to do is we're trying to separate tasks for the back end and task for the front end. So maybe when you do this, you can create yourself another task. Maybe let me just create that. Um, Display
You can name it the
information.
same. Disclose menu item ingredients. The
Okay,
same.
so we leave it as one story. We mark it
No,
front
no.
end
You
and
can create two of them with the same name, so we know it's related.
okay. Where's that?
The second one from the top.
Okay, this one. I'm just gonna add this. Customer to the restaurant and what is the description on this one? I think I should just
Yeah,
grab
you
that.
can copy that.
In order to, well, I need to,
Display ingredients, the items in menu. Just copy the same thing and it's fine.
well, the story is a little bit different from a restaurant owner point of view to a customer point of view. It's just a little bit different.
As
All
a,
right.
how about as a customer to the restaurant, in order to avoid certain food ingredients, I
Mhm.
need to see a list of ingredients in the menu items.
Um, Ingredients. Um,
Do you guys have also created a UML for the was the plan for the database?
Well, we started working on that at the beginning, and then we had to drop it because we were spending too much time trying to define domain models and all. And we decided to like go with a top-down approach where we go from accept and test to define what is it that we need to build.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
There is a entity relationship diagram, Christian.
Uh-huh.
It's right here.
Yeah, there it is. So
Go ahead, Patrick.
It's mostly up to date. So I've been making changes to it if things have evolved. I can't say it's 100% up to date now, but it's mostly up to date. It would give you a pretty good starting point. But the true source of truth would be, of course, the actual schema that we've implemented. But you'll see it follows this pretty closely.
I see.
Okay. So this will be marked as a front end.
Oh, and there isn't anything about ingredients here.
No, we haven't updated that yet.
Yeah, so there's no attribute for ingredients anymore because we haven't decided to move forward on this particular story yet.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So then menu item has ingredients.
Yes.
Well, I don't think we need an association with a separate table. All we need is a text field added to the menu item.
To the menu item, correct.
Because according to the owner, it's just a comma-separated list of ingredients. He'll just fill out a text field. That's it.
I see.
Nothing fancier than that.
Okay.
Okay, and for that, should I create a new resource to update that, or should it go when updating the menu items?
So you must probably just have to create a new migration to add a new column to the menu item resource.
Yeah.
And yeah.
I mean, how do you update this? Should from the client perspective, should it
You
be
mean on the front end?
Yeah.
Okay,
No,
so
I mean the roots. Should I create a new set of roots?
no. You don't need to. Let me just quickly show you. So we want to keep this one very simple.
So when you update the menu items, you can also
You need to have another field for ingredients where you can fill up all the list of ingredients for that specific menu item.
Yes.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. So we don't need any complication on this one. All right.
Oh, so directly from Active Admin where you have edit.
So if I go, for instance, to a product and I edit this one, I want to have another field for ingredients, for instance.
Okay.
Okay.
And then in the front end, you only show them.
In the front end, I only show them. That's all.
Okay.
So the story would need to we need to update menu.
Yeah, the menu items model.
Item model.
Yep.
Refactor aim interface to show ingredients.
Yes.
So that's for the back end, yeah, and you also need to
expose it to the API, right?
Yes. Update API endpoint to ingredients. Yeah. So that's on the back end, and in the front end, we just have to display it on every menu item. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So should we then vote on this one, and then move to the next one?
Okay.
Okay. So this is how, I don't know if you guys do it the same way on Osra, but the way we do it, Christian, is we just gonna in the chat in the chat here, you're going to enter a number from, I mean, between 1, 2, or 3, and then on my signal, we all gonna press enter at the same time.
Yeah.
Okay.
Are we voting for both of them or only for one?
All right. So, well, let's start with the back end one first. Okay.
Okay.
So let me hide my screen first. Okay.
So this is
Yes,
this
Patrick.
is to add to the model, to configure active admins so we can edit ingredients, and to add to the API to add the ingredients attribute to the menu item that we deliver with
That's
menu.
correct. That's
Okay.
correct. Okay.
All right.
Okay. Is everyone ready?
Yep.
So on the count of 3, we press enter. So 1, 2, 3, enter.
Well,
Okay.
I thought that since it's touching the database, the controller, the API, I thought it should be okay.
I'm okay with moving up to 2. I don't have any troubles with that. Okay. So it's 2. Patrick, we have a 2, so I'm just gonna make that a 2. An estimated 2 points. For the front end.
Yeah. You can also assign it to me if you want.
We need to assign a number of points to that. Okay, so we're going for a vote on that one. Just to clarify things, we need to pull the information from the API endpoint and just display it on the front end.
Yeah.
On the menu item. That's all we need to do.
And write the test for that.
And write the test. Okay, so one thing that I'm currently doing with Angular is I'm mostly doing unit testing for controllers and services at the moment. I'm not doing any end-to-end testing, integration testing. So something like this would probably fall in the integration test. And seeing that this application is, well, we just build it just to like get our hands around Angular and all that. We're not putting too much pressure on having a full stack of tests. But if you feel like you will have time to look at that, then sure, I'm okay with it.
That means I have to write a test for the entire show, right?
You will have to write the test for the entire show, and that's gonna be an end-to-end test, not a unit test for that.
Since I didn't learn about testing in Angular, I'll leave that for the next week.
So I would say let's just keep this simple and just display it to the interface. That's all we need to do for now.
Okay. Cool.
It's gonna be a lot of time consume. Well, it's gonna consume a lot of time if we need to do tests for that. Okay, and plus it's not something that we will end up using on the long run. Okay.
Let's keep the test in a different test.
Okay. All right. So are we ready to vote then?
Yep.
Okay. On the count of 3, we all press enter. So 1, 2, 3, enter.
Oh, what do you know?
Yeah. Pretty simple.
At least. Cool. So we give that a 1 point. So I'm gonna assign this one to Christian. All right, Patrick. You said you're busy with Paperclip at the moment. Would you like to get another task?
What have you got in mind?
I was thinking maybe you could pair with Christian on this one. I don't know if you'll be able to get some time synchronization between you two to do that.
Yeah, I'm planning to do this right now. I mean after the Scrum.
After the Scrum.
Yeah.
You know, that's so trivial. Probably I would just get in the way. I'm not conversant with Angular or JavaScript all that much, to be honest. So I would just be
So
watching.
this one is for the back end. The story particularly is the back end. So that's Ruby Rails. And then there's gonna be the front end. You don't have to do the front end if you don't want to.
Yeah.
It's fine if you want. If not, I can take care of it.
No, I could pair up
It's
on the
up to
back
you.
end. Sure, we could pair up on this.
Okay, sure.
Yep.
All right. Cool.
I don't see the front end in the icebox.
Let me move all of that to the backlog actually. So we get this there, and then how do I put this? Okay, I moved them to the backlog now, so you should be able to see them. Okay. The next one is about, should we look at this next one?
Sure.
So this one says we need to limit the quantity of items ordered in a day. I think this is a more complex one. I think so. I don't know if do we want to do this right now, or is this something that can wait? What do you guys think?
When are we going to talk to the customer again, Ro?
I think we need to plan a meeting for next week, I think.
Yeah, that makes sense. So my thoughts on this, that if we set a daily quantity in the menu item table, then every time that menu item is added to a menu, it just uses that particular quantity.
Okay.
We have to keep track of. Actually, we're going to need another table anyway, because we need to keep track of the number of items ordered against that. Let me finish my thought. So if there's just one number for each menu item, like 10, it can be ordered in one day, and it's always 10. That's one level of complexity. If, as I wrote the pivotal tracker, you'll see I said we can set it at the menu item level, a default number of items to be ordered in a day, but that number can be overridden once an item is added to a menu. So now we have a little bit more of, we probably have maybe a separate database table to keep track of that. I'm not sure. So it's a little more complicated. So I'm not sure, I'm not sure whether we need to override a fixed number at the menu level, or if we can just set the number in menu item and just use that number every time the item is added to a menu. If you follow.
So if we have a number at the menu item level, then we initialize the number when we create the menu, right? Now,
no, we
when
initialize the number. I'm sorry, we initialize the number when we create the menu item.
When we create the menu item.
Right.
Okay, so we assign a default number to that. And then when the restaurant owner creates a menu, he can decide how many item. I mean, he can decide the number of items he wants to display per day on that specific item, right?
He can decide that he wants to override the default number to make more or less because they have greater or lesser capacity than normal. So if he adds the menu item and the menu item default number is 10, and he says, well, gee, I've got a lot of ingredients for this particular menu item for today. I can increase the number to 15. That can be ordered today.
Right.
Yep.
Okay.
Or he says, no, just leave it 10 all the time. Just give me the default number. That's all I need.
And also with this, we need to take into consideration the whole mechanism. I mean, keeping track of the number of that is being to the number of item that is available.
You're breaking up, Raul.
Hello, can you hear me?
You better now, yeah.
Yeah, please repeat.
So I was saying that with this feature, we also need to um, take into account the fact that whenever somebody places an order on the website, it needs to be we need to update that the quantity available, right?
Yeah, -1 every time, or it depends how many you order.
Not to be really getting into the corner cases here, but it's to do this exactly right is rather complex. If we have 4 people out there with the end user app in front of them,
Mm-hmm.
and while they're looking at the menu and creating their order for the day, there are other people who have been ordering the same menu items. And all of a sudden on the server side, the available number for the day is going down. I don't think we want to take on the task of updating in real time the front end app to reflect what's going on in the back end by multiple users. You know
Yeah,
what I
but
mean? Yeah.
yeah, but also if these 4 people are looking and making orders, and they are it's showing that item is available, and people start making orders, and maybe the last person will see the item is available, and when he clicks make order, there's no more items available. You know what I mean?
Exactly. That's one of the problems. So should we include in this the idea that we have to update any existing front-end applications that are open while other orders occur in the back end because the available number is going down? Or do we not to go to that level of complexity?
Okay. Um, I think we need to first worry about how we handle this in the back end,
Mm. Mm-hmm.
because handling the front end now is going to be, well, in the front end, what we could do is as soon as it maybe does the checkout button, we double check for quantity before we proceed. If there's not no more quantity available, then we send them a message, something like that.
You mean in the back end?
So I'm saying, remember in the front end when the customer will place the order,
Yeah, I'm asking, where do you do this
we'll
checkout? In
make
the
a
front end or in
query
the back end?
to the back end first. In the context of the front end application right now, all right. Now, when I do a checkout, when I click on the checkout button, I believe what will happen is we'll need to create the order request on the back end, right,
Uh-huh.
via the API. That's presumably what needs to happen.
Yes.
So when we then make that request, the server is going to respond with a positive or a positive answer saying that your order has been placed,
Uh-huh.
or we can deny the order because there's not enough item available to order anymore.
Yes.
Okay,
That makes sense to me.
all right. So in other words, for the story, what we need to do is what we need to add the quantity to the menu item, right? Available quantity to a menu item.
Yes.
Right.
I'm just trying to list all the tasks we need to do for the story.
Uh-huh.
Add yeah. um, obviously we need to refactor AA to reflect new field. Then
Sorry about that.
we have an endpoint for this. No problem. I think updating this number will occur on this other workflow, right? I think it's going to be part of this other workflow somehow. Or maybe I'm wrong on this.
Right, that other workflow will be done by then, right?
Um, I'm not sure. Nobody is working on that yet. So we should probably have this available by the time we start working on the other workflow. What do you guys think?
No, I think you should actually they are connected. So
They are connected
yeah.
because before we create an order, we need to make sure that we have enough we have enough item for that specific menu available.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So these two stories are actually linked. Okay.
Yep.
So this is in the back end. And okay. So these two tasks should be enough unless I forgot something for this particular story.
Where
Did
is
I
saying
forget something? I'm
saying about
saying
Um,
these
the
two tasks should
no,
be enough for.
yeah, I understand. Did you said before that we need an endpoint to check if there is any items left?
That is part of the workflow, the other workflow that needs to be handled with this feature.
Oh, oh yeah, yeah, that too, right.
um, Raul, I'm not sure that that story is complete. Could
Which
you go
one?
the one you're just looking at there? So the restaurant owner has now able to populate the menu item quantity.
Mm-hmm.
Wouldn't a task then also reflect the fact that when the menu item is added to a menu, that we have to store somewhere the available quantity for the particular day that the menu is good for?
Oh yeah.
We have to have a field for that somewhere.
Yeah, we need to do something like that. Ah. Because we need to be able to track for report purpose. We need to be able to track how many items were sold on a specific day. Is that correct?
But we also just need to keep track of how many items have been sold on a day so that we don't sell more than we should.
Mm-hmm.
So right now we only have a fixed quantity of number 10, let's say, in the menu item. That can't be changed. That's a static field.
Yeah.
So there's going to be something added to a table somewhere to keep track of how many have been ordered of that item on that given day, on today, let's say.
Okay.
So that model's got to be thought through.
Okay, so I'm just gonna add a comment here saying that we need to think about how we will track um, um, number of items sold on a given day.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. So do we need to? I think we then need to figure out this before we vote on the story. What do you guys think? Because right now it's not a defined thingy, and we can't really vote on something that's not decided.
Yeah, I agree.
Unless you have an idea to suggest on this. Someone has an idea for this.
Well, I think that the simplest thing to do, Raul, we'd have to have a separate table that
Okay.
it contains at least two fields. It contains menu item ID
Mm-hmm.
and then quantity ordered, and it probably needs
A date.
it needs a menu ID. So we have a menu that has menu items. So
Mm-hmm.
that menu ID has to be in that table.
Yeah.
The menu item ID has to be in that table. And the number ordered on the particular day has to be in that table. And it needs, as you said, Raul, a field for what day we're talking about, which
But
is
why
important.
do we need them to why do we need this to put why do we need this in a new table? Can't we just look over the orders every time we need this information? Or do you think it's too resource intensive?
That's another way to do it. Yeah, we just sum up on the fly every time how many orders have occurred
Yeah,
today, how many contain that particular menu item, etc.
exactly. And I think that should be a better approach for the start. Probably when the application gets more complex and we have too many clients, we should jump to a new table. But until then, I think we have to keep it simple.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Okay,
that'll probably work.
cool. So just add a comment to that story with your suggestion. Okay, Christian. Then we'll discuss on this at another, maybe, I don't know, some other day.
Okay.
Okay. I think I'm gonna, well, cut this short for now. I think we should have enough to get going for the next day or so, and we can meet up today tomorrow and just check the progress.
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Sure.
All right. Okay. Um, if there's no other question, maybe we should call this a wrap then.
Okay,
Not for
great.
me.
All good for me. I think I have everything.
Awesome. Thank you very much, guys, for joining on this. Um, I'll speak to you guys on Slack tomorrow. Well, probably later today or tomorrow. Okay.
Uh, do we set a time for the meeting tomorrow, or is it a default time?
Tomorrow is gonna be probably around this time again, like the same time we started, 6:30 p.m. UTC.
Okay.
But I'll try and send a message in advance on the Slack channel to confirm the time. Okay.
Okay.
All right. You guys enjoy the rest
Okay.
of the day, and we'll
Okay.
talk.
Cool.
Cheers.
Okay. Thank you. Bye now.
Yeah.
Bye.
Patrick, will we pair